It was in Romania, it was November, and it was dark. And I thought, well, I'm going to now try, because I had read books that you concentrate your energy from your feet and from your arms towards your heart and your brain. So I concentrated. And all of a sudden I started feeling vibrations in my body from feet up to the head in 5-6 layers. It was just like vibrating. And I thought, this is strange. And then a blackout. And I don't know if it was 1 second or 1/100th of a second. Blackout. I was floating about my body in the same position, which was funny because I had my knees up, in the same position and floating towards the ceiling. Of course, I had read about it, out-of-body experiences and how people, experience it. But I was looking down.
Ceiling to wie, że to jest sufit.
Thought, hey, wait a minute.
Sufite.
I could see that my
Ceiling.
body's breathing was very slow. I worked as an anesthetist,
Moja ty kochana.
so I can count 60 seconds.
Leu coś tam.
Without a clock. So I started counting. And I saw that my physical body was only breathing 10 times a minute when normal is 20 times a minute. And then I got worried and I thought, hey, what's the pulse? So I took the pulse of the physical with the astral body, which was, floating, and I started counting. It was 32 instead of 60, which is normal, when you're resting. Then I really got worried. I thought, hey, am I going to die? Is that body going to die? All my thoughts were in the astral body. Nothing was in the body. It was just like, old clothes. And when I thought, oh, am I going to die? I thought, oh, mother, help me. And my mother lived 800 kilometers down south in Helsinki. And when I said that in my mind, I was in a second in Helsinki at a big room, where I used to grow up. And I saw my mother, and I saw my niece, who was about 5 years old. They were chatting. I couldn't hear what they were saying. I was just like a consciousness there. And I saw my mother was sewing a long dress with hands, and probably a gift to me or something. And then I thought, where is my sister? And all of a sudden, tick, I was at a cocktail party. I was looking, I saw my sister flirting with a family friend. I looked around, where was her husband? No place. And then I thought, oh, I want to go home. And immediately, in a second, I was again 800 kilometers, I'm floating. Now I saw the floating astral body. It was like skim milk, without inside organs, which is interesting, and without sex. Your right body doesn't have sexual organs or inside organs. It's just like. And then I was floating like this and going like this, and I thought, gee, I'm going to get seasick. And then I thought, I better watch out that I don't throw up on this physical body, because then, I'll suffocate me. I mean, all the thoughts were in the astral. There was nothing in the astral. And then I tried, zoom, I went back. Whew. It was cold and I was sick.
This is because you felt you were going to die.
Well, no, it was, when I was floating, when I came back, I just wanted to get back to the body. I wasn't thinking of death at all. It wasn't, because I was doing astral travel, which of course I had never done before. And then I just went back and fell asleep. And next morning I called my father, my parents in Helsinki, and I said, what was my mother doing at 8, p.m.? Oh, I can't tell you, my dad said, because it's a Christmas gift to you. And I said, it's a long dress with flowers, so by hand. And he said, how do you know? And I told him the story. And he said, don't ever tell anybody. And of course I went to the Finnish press.
So, you went to the Finnish press, how did they react?
I got a lot of interviews. I got about 30 letters a day from people who have had experiences but have never dared to say a word about it. There was a 60-year-old lawyer in Helsinki who wrote to me and said, I have had exactly, that kind of out-of-body experience. I have never told anybody, not even my wife. Then I was married to a Norwegian diplomat, and when he knew about these things, but it took a few years before he said, yeah, when I was a child and I had 40 Celsius fever, I got also out of my body. Males never dare to talk about it because officially,
other feelings, can't they?
yeah, that's right. But officially, you know, this happens to people all the time. There's nothing funny about it. There's nothing abnormal about it. If you have an accident, you get out of your body. If you don't die, you come back.
And within the medical profession, that's a much more widely known phenomenon.
Now it is. For 30 years ago, it wasn't. Near-death experiences were not. You know, it was, and yet people have it all the time. And if you take any average doctor, they still don't know enough about it. They don't. Because they believe in diagnostic, statistical, manual, or mental disorders. Which is crazy. It's normal that we can do that because we are energy. And when you said what 5 or whatever are most important points, so at least this, there is no death, is absolutely the most important. You cannot die. And paranormal phenomena are normal. They are totally normal. They're part of our development, our spiritual entity. There's nothing crazy about it, even if...
Can you expand on that exactly?
Well, like telepathy.
Yeah.
You know, the thing with mind control is very bad because they call it synthetic telepathy. They can induce thoughts in you. They can induce voices in your head. And of course, voices in your head, that you're crazy, you know. They can do that, and they have done that from, at least officially, from the Iraqi First War. They gave orders to soldiers straight into their head. Of course, they were Iraqis.
American soldiers?
American, yeah, right. And here's this
Did they use it on the enemy as well?
Yes, in a way, because I always remember I was so shocked when I saw a picture when soldiers came from bunkers, Iraqi soldiers. They had bunkers on about 3-yard walls, you know. They had drinks and food for 6 months. Americans had sent helicopters above, and they had Arabic-speaking interpreters who spoke Arabic to them, and they were sending, with microwaves, orders to come out. They were being mind-controlled, and all of a sudden, all the guys came out. With no reason at all. Nobody attacked physically. It was just done with mind control. Then they had another one where there was an Iraqi colonel who was, you know, putting his hands up because they were using mind control on him. Nobody shot him. He came out and he was saying, you know, I surrender. And there was nobody to surrender to because the helicopter went by. So it's incredible things you can do, and especially, well, this is a weapon, an incredible weapon of war. And in 1991 too, it was in Fort Bragg. There was an American colonel who gave a lecture about this. And it was publicized, and they call it synthetic telepathy. But then, of course, there is normal telepathy between animals and humans to other humans. And especially if you are close to somebody, like a mother and child, you know, there's so many stories of how they know what happens to the child on the other side of the globe. For instance, an accident, and the mother, you know, feels it and things like that. So this is not anything abnormal. It's totally part of being a human being. And then we come to the most important question, I think, is why are we here? What it is to be a human being on this planet? Why are we here? Why are we, some are brown, some are yellow, some are white, whatever. But we all have teeth, and we have hair, and we have 5 fingers.
Kocham cię
Why are we so
za twoje
scared
wypowiedzi.
when somebody does not have teeth, not 5 fingers? I'm talking about aliens. There are very, very, very many different races in the universe, and they don't look all like us. And why we're so afraid is that we are always fixing ourselves into the body instead of the energy. And you see the energy through the eyes. I mean, you look at anybody into the eyes and you feel. That's what we should do with all ETs and all life forms in the universe, because we're so limited that we think that everybody should be like us. We say there's no life on some planets because there is no water, because there is no oxygen. We need the water and oxygen. There are races that don't. But we say you have to have this.
So let's split the real aliens from the fake government aliens.
Yeah.
Can you discuss more about the sort of fake MILAB aliens
Right.
first, and then we'll go
Yeah.
on to
I've written in my last book, Secret Worlds, because I get a lot of mail from people who have contacts, and they always say that it's relieving to be able to talk to somebody who doesn't ridicule. And the Finnish contacts in general are very, very positive. They're very positive. They come at nights, they kiss you on the cheek, they talk with you, they take you up, they don't harass you or do anything bad. Now, in my mind, the question is this real? Because this could be also done with mind control. Now, how can you separate the two?
Can you name any mind control projects that would be able to do that?
I have a whole list I can show to you in a minute. It's a one page. Of course, they tried with McUltra, Naomi, and all these when that was already in the 50s. But they are doing it.
What names again? I didn't quite catch that.
Like McUltra, that was
MK Ultra.
Yeah, MK Ultra, MK Naomi, the Rainbow, or whatever. But I have a whole list written down.
Okay.
And of course, if you think what the technology was in 1950s, think what it is 2009.
A lot happened in the 50s, in the late 40s. Where
A lot, I think, was remote. I mean, when they got crashed UFOs, when they got alive aliens, they got information.
How long do you think that's been going on back to the 1930s?
Probably. But I was just near Washington, D.C. in April 2008 at this X-conference, second Insiders Conference, like they called it. And there was Jesse Marcel, and her, who's a doctor living in Montana, and he's a colonel, retired. And his father was the Jesse Marcel Sr., who at Roswell took home a piece of this piece of a UFO and showed it to the son, who was at that time 11-year-old, and said, "You look at this because you're never going to see it again." And he drew, the 11-year-old Jesse Marcel Jr. drew the figures that were there. They were like hieroglyphs. And he also, in his lecture, showed pictures from 1800, end of 1800, of UFOs. And from the US, UFOs from 1932. As you know, generally they say, oh, he was 49, with Kenneth Arnold. The official information is often lies. Unofficial.
The Kenneth Arnold thing, there's a lot of that being suggested is actually a lot of German World War II technology.
And in Sweden, Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been going on like that.
So in your position in Finland, you've been to Russia
Yeah.
for some conferences. Can you
Yeah.
talk about some of those?
Well, I went to Siberia, Novosibirsk, and that was interesting because it was Arctic medical research. And of course, I was with Arctic medical research in Finland and in the Nordic Committee for Arctic medical research. And one thing that really got me was that there was Dr. Kashnashev, I think his name was. He was doing research with bacteria and their consciousness from one file to another. Something was happening to the bacteria here, and the bacteria here, was reacting, which is interesting when you think of telepathy, consciousness,
So
whatever.
the bacteria have a consciousness of communication.
Well, I mean, communication. So if you think that we are a little bit more advanced than bacteria, so we have tremendous energy and possibilities for communication, normal telepathic communication.
Can you discuss anything about the Soviet research into psychic phenomena or whatever like that?
The Soviet Academy of Sciences officially has been for decades researching the paranormal. Of course, because it is a weapon also. And in this conference in Moscow, there were members of the Soviet Academy of Sciences who gave presentations.
When was this conference?
It was in 91 in Moscow. And what surprised me most was that they were so open about the research. And
Now, how did you get to this conference?
because I knew the psychiatrist Rima Leibo from a previous conference, And she was telling me that she's going to this Moscow conference. And I said, is it possible that I could come because I was in Finland, it's, a short trip? And she says, yeah, it's open, just come. So I just hopped on the plane and came. It was that easy. It didn't even cost anything. It was free. And there...
Does that tell you about they were really trying to tell us something, a disclosure?
Yeah, I do think so. And there was an assistant professor.
And this was, of course, just before the Soviet Union collapsed. So
yeah, it was just about a minute. It was exactly.
No, najwyższy czas,
that it was going to collapse.
żeby kolapsł.
It was there. It was incredible energy in that, 400 people in the lecture room.
Putina wyleczyć.
I mentioned they were pilots, test pilots like Marina Popovich, as audience, doctors, and one thing that came out, and general public. I didn't know the general, I don't speak Russian, unfortunately, but then there was a lady who was an engineer whom I had met in a UFO conference previously, so I asked her to come and sit next to me and interpret something, anyway. And then the next day was very strange, because she didn't come, but 2 men came. I've been married to 2 officers, so I can see their stiff neck and their, I said...
what happened to make that change?
I don't know.
Did you say something? Or?
In my mind, they realized that I was a foreigner, of course, and they wanted to do surveillance. I said to the other guy, when the other one went out, you're an officer. And he was like, how do you, I said, I can smell them. I know. What is your grade? Colonel. And this gentleman who just went to the toilet, he's my chief general, of course. Very good audience. And after that, I couldn't go anywhere alone. They said, oh, no, we'll escort you to the hotel or whatever. Which actually was good, because I was alone in Moscow, and I didn't think anything could have happened. So I was grateful for the information. But Marina Popovich, whom I had met also before, ex-wife of General Popovich, who opened the conference, we made a deal that we'll talk tomorrow. She never came. Somebody must have interfered. I don't know. But the best thing of that conference was that there was an assistant professor, Russian, who is also going to the committees in NASA. And he gave a lecture about UFO contacts, positive ones, and near-death experiences, and what happens...
So you're having a Russian expert who deals with NASA, giving positive, verifiable...
Right,
in Moscow about UFOs.
And near-death experiences. How people change positively after a good UFO experience and after a good near-death experience. And the changes are permanent, and they are the same. They're the same. And I thought this was incredible. I had come to the same conclusion myself. But hearing it from the podium in Moscow, I thought this is fantastic. You don't hear this in the States because, like you mentioned, what's the difference between Finland and the US? Well, we are allowed to, say what we want, and we're not harassed. You go to the States or NATO country Norway, you're harassed terribly when you open your mouth.
And that is why you harassed.
That's right, because of the information I give. And my information is all public. I mean, I have no secrecy, no secret, nothing. But there, of course, there's a lot of work digging into old top secret papers, which are now open because of Freedom of Information Act.
And what are you getting from those papers? For what information?
Number one, that people are not told the truth. People are being lied to. I mean, that's the whole thing.
So the lies are?
On the ground. And official information is mostly lies.
So what is real? We're talking about the real ET situation at the moment, right?
Yeah. What is real is that we're not alone in the universe. That's my number two. There's no death, and then alone in the universe. I mean, when you go to an observatory in any country, and then you see the little tiny spot which is called planet Earth, then you see the universe, know it, but as we know it, then you can't come out saying that, feel like you'd add to them.
Or Russia, Russia. Have you had any further contacts with Russia since
No,
then?
no, that wasn't.
Was collapsing.
Yeah.
No, tu jakaś muzyka nawet jest na zakończenie.
Stronę to też mamy, że nie całą, ale strasznie długo.
Grekę, tak. Grekę, kochanie,
This is
studium.
Julius from the Human Project.
Hebrajski.
I've had the pleasure to have Dr. Rawnelina Luknen-Kille by me for a few days, and it will be a few more days since the volcano on Iceland is blocking all the planes from here. So actually we are enjoying, and we have just realized that everything is about, you can say, the now. All the power is in the now, and when we stay centered in the now and realign to what we truly are, we are all love, we are all powerful consciousness, you can say. We all have so much energy, many things can happen. So please share this video with all you know around the world. Please help the Human Project, since we are all part of the Human Project. Let's do it, let's be one force, since we are all literally one when we come down to it. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for being who you are. Thank you very much. Good morning, Dr. Radę.
Good morning.
It's a brand new day. It's a new beginning, we can say. It's, how you say, new energy is coming in. A lot of changes in the world going on. A lot of chaos, but also a lot of good things. And what we really need today is we need more love. I know we can talk about this a lot, but love and love and love. But love is really the key. I just been, before we are going to have this little talk, I've been through treatment with these singing bowls. And she could hear how my heart chakra opened a lot with these vibrations, you can say. And what we really need today is we need to embrace each other. We need to come together. We need to work as one. Yeah, we need love from it.
The whole world needs love, but at the moment I think we are in a situation like a small baby who's getting the first tooth. You know, tooth has to come out, but it hurts. And when it comes out, it hurts, but then it's a beautiful tooth. And we are right there with the tooth hurting, with the ashes from Iceland, with the, at the same time, an earthquake in China. I don't think these are coincidences. Of course, they are natural catastrophes, quote, quote, but we have to remember that means mankind has weapons that can make earthquakes, that can make volcanoes to erupt, that can cause tsunamis, and that is the pain right now for the tooth coming out.
Let's say we're breaking the ice. Let's say it seems like we're just in a dark period now. We just need, like you say, to get through it. And everything moves so fast now. But also, you know, you feel a lot of love from people. You feel a lot of good things coming. People are opening more. They are more ready. They are waking up fast. It seems like love is really the universal means of.
Of course it is, but I think there's a lot of pain too. But some people learn through the pain. It's very strange that when we have wars and catastrophes, so all of a sudden people who didn't care about each other, they start being friendly, they start supporting their neighbors, they change totally. So somehow it seems that the pain is part of the human life, and it is going to be changed for the better through the pain, through the catastrophes, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense just to have a man-made catastrophe which can kill thousands. But when it changes the whole idea of what it is to be a human being on this planet, what is actually our goal? Why are we here? What is the individual mission of every human being, and what is the collective mission of the whole mankind? And most people don't think about that. They have to be stopped. And the stop happens often through catastrophes or on an individual level. It can be a car accident, or it can be a divorce. Something, a change in the family structure. A person dies in the family, it's a catastrophe. So we start asking why. Why are all these things happening? What is the meaning? And when you ask a question, you usually do get an answer. It may take some time, but we often don't ask. We just go on the normal routine every day. I was thinking that when this period of catastrophes, quote, quote, and I think it's a lot man-made, is going to go through and it's over. So it's possible that a lot of people have changed dimensions. That means they have left their physical body and they have gone to another dimension with their energy body, with the light body. And those who stay, they have totally changed. And the change is what we need. We all know. Even President Obama said, change, we need a change. But I don't think that most people thought that the change would be coming through catastrophes. Because that is one way. There are other ways. If we would be evolved enough as a human race, we wouldn't need to arrange these catastrophes. We would start being more lovable and more considerate and start seeing the whole picture of the universe. But we are on a very low level as human beings, unfortunately. Sometimes they compare us to ants. We also think that the ant hive is beautiful. They have an intelligent civilization, they have the queen, and they have all the workers, and they have babysitters and whatever. But how do we communicate with them? Only through telepathy. And telepathy is a man-made, man-born thing that everybody has, but we don't realize it, and so we don't use it. And we say, oh, it was a coincidence you called, I just thought about you. Oh, it was a coincidence I met you, I got a letter from you. There are no coincidences.
Just like the coincidence when we are here today, it's Saturday the 17th of April, and you were supposed to leave yesterday with the plane for Norway, but no planes are flying due to the volcano, so now we're here with a brand new day we didn't know we had, and we just, the energy is more, you can say it's more relaxed, because now it's like we have to stay in the present because we don't know when this is playing.
Exactly. That is a very, very good point. We have to stay in the present. It's today. There's no tomorrow. Yesterday is gone. What is important is today. And most people, most of us, we always think, I'm going to do this next week, I'm going to go there, and whatever. Nobody now in Europe, Northern Europe, knows when they're going to travel, at least by plane, because we don't know when the planes are going. So again, there's something very good in the catastrophe. It makes people start thinking and staying in the now. And,
that's the whole point. And if we look at, it's about contrasts. So we have the dark side, we have the light side, but it all hangs together. So actually we should be very thankful. We should be thankful for Boy Bush and the rest of the gang who has been, destroying a lot of the planet. But they really have just done their job, because they have just pushed, you can say, the dark energies forward so we can get over it. So we can get to the light side where we will have the real unity, where we'll have people to go together. And so if, just like you said, everything is part of, we just have to look at the perspective. What side or what angle we look at things from.
Yeah, you were quite right when you said that the dark side has shown himself. Now, anybody with normal brains can understand that there's something very, very wrong on this planet. The whole system is wrong, and that has to be changed. Again, the name change is coming. And we, every one of us, every single one of us, are part of the change. And what we think, we have enormous energy. The power of thought is really demonstrated. It is very, very strong if you use it and correctly. So if we all start, gathering together and start sending the love frequency, because every feeling has a frequency. And of course love frequency necessarily doesn't have anything to do with sex. But if it is combined, of course it's wonderful, and it's meant to be. But the aim for this planet, I think, is actually for all of us to experience universal love. And that would be the love, not
No,
only
ona
to your
mądrze
husband,
mówi,
to
bo
your
tak
wife, to your
jest.
family, to your friends, to your pets.
Bez miłości
It goes
właśnie.
beyond all borders. Now that's
Także
very,
ci
very
wszyscy, co tak za
high,
tym
I
seksem
would
lecą
say, aim. But
bezwartościowym, to
that is
wiesz,
the all
są
planets
prymitywni, ale robi
And
się
when
tak.
we one
Na
day
chama,
reach to that point,
za wszelką
that we
cenę.
are going to look at everything with the loving eyes, I think we have
A mnie się myślało, że taki facet gada. A to ta sama. Nasza Lena. Ma rację.
When you say pain, I also think of a birth, because many women are experiencing a lot of pain when they have to give birth, and it can be very challenging. Of course, I cannot speak because but it's like, Mother Earth is pregnant now, and she's going through a tough period with many challenges, but we are seeing a new Earth emerging. We are seeing, actually, you can say, the birth of the new human being, where we will be in love, where love will be the so-called value, you can say, the only value, real value, because the others are pseudo values. But actually, with the painting in the background of you, that's actually where we're going, where we all will, we will take our own hand and forgive ourselves and forgive others, set ourselves free, set others free, and be as one. Because we have so much power, we can create everything. We can, we have so many resources on this planet. Everything is possible.
I think that was a good idea. You said that planet Earth is giving birth, because when a female gives birth, of course the fetus is there, and it goes through a tunnel, through a dark period, to come to the light. And very, very strangely, when you do hypnotic regressions with people, so most people experience fear when they are being born, going through the tunnel, which they have to do to come to the light, to come to this world. So we are right now in the dark tunnel, and the light is already there. I mean, we can sense it, we can see it, and we understand it, it's coming, but it's not yet there. How long it takes before Mother Earth has given birth to the new human being, to the new planet's frequency, I don't think anybody can say, but it is right there. And I don't think it takes too many years before the most people on this planet start seeing the huge universe from totally a different angle. And one of the things that is needed, of course, that authorities would be honest, and authorities would give the honest information about space travel, for instance, because that would already open up the eyes. And if the authorities would give honest information of what we actually know, what science actually has today as knowledge, it's flabbergasting. Majority doesn't know because they're dependent on normal TV, on normal radio, on normal newspapers, and those do not give very much correct information, unfortunately. So the information comes from within and from other people, and also now through internet, which is, I think internet is the biggest revolution that we have ever had, bigger than the Industrial Revolution, because it has changed the communications totally. Now anybody who can go into internet, and the young people do, they can get information from anywhere in the world in a second. And they don't have to rely on the disinformation by the authorities. So that's wonderful.
Także proszę Państwa, wonderful cud.